seated and we will be immersed into the future. We're going to switch MCs for a while, okay? Hi, I'm Alexa, your virtual assistant. Iyaz Waheed is the president of Universal Foundation. Iyaz is a chartered management accountant with a postgraduate diploma in business. Iyaz has over 20 years' experience in different leadership roles in the hospitality industry. Iyaz is mostly known to be a growth mindset advocate whose mission is to help people and organizations to grow by adopting a growth culture. Iyaz is a Toastmaster and a professional speaker who has spoken in all MAHRP conferences and many other national conferences. In this presentation, Iyaz will take us through how we see future and the readiness at workplace and the work ahead. Let's give a round of applause to Iyaz and immerse into the future of work.
Thank you, Alexa. Isn't she amazing? Let's give a round of applause to Maisha from the Metaverse. Here you can see, if anybody meets me on Metaverse, that's how I will be looking like. That's my Metaverse avatar. All right. Just when I was getting ready for this, I thought of giving you a little bit of virtual reality experience. So, I'm going to take you into the Horizon Workplace by Facebook. That was before Metaverse. Let's have a look.
And it's right here, on my face. Welcome. This is Horizon. Think of me as your guide / self-appointed spokes avatar, here to show you around. You know, Horizon is filled with possibilities. You can play stuff, make stuff, fly stuff. Whoa! Really love the stash, Stuart.
What up, Stuart?
Wait, I want a mustache. Horizon isn't about rules or limits or pants. Or people telling you not to fly an airplane while drinking your fresh ground, fair trade, French press morning coffee through a curly straw. Isn't that right, Debbie? Mm-hmm. It's about getting out there and trying new things, making your mark, making friends with an Australian named Mark.
Oh, actually, I'm from New Zealand. Yeah.
And you can even build a world of your own, like laser tag moon landing. Or this islandy place with these cutie patooties. Boop. In Horizon, the world is your lobster.
Isn't it oyster?
That too. So come, join us. A never-ending, ever-changing world beyond your world is waiting. Woo! Debbie gets it.
Wow.
All right. Are you ready for the future? Okay, if you're ready, look at my next slide. I'm not going to tell what it is. As it comes on the slide, I want everybody to cheer up what is on the slide. All right? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
Beyond our...
Huh? Who said that? That's exactly what I thought after looking at the Horizon introductory video. I thought that's WTF. How can Mark Zuckerberg can even think of doing that to us men? I mean, having an avatar without waist below? I mean, we men are not going into this metaverse, isn't it? We are the creatures who are brainy enough to have a ball guard many years before we even thought of wearing a helmet to play in baseball. So how can we go with this avatar, isn't it? So, everybody, this WTF is welcome to the future. All right, the pandemic, we all have experienced it. Anybody who have not experienced the pandemic? Raise your hand. All right. Everybody has experienced the pandemic. And anybody who has not come out of the pandemic as a different person, can you raise your hand? No one? Everybody has come out of this pandemic as a different person. When this pandemic hit to Maldives, it was very concerning to the entire industry and even to the people and to the government, because our livelihood depends on tourism. If their borders are going to close and we cannot get tourists into Maldives, that will be disastrous. Today, what Sri Lanka is going through would have been Maldives. But I am proud to say that our leadership, our president, together with the leaders of the industry, took very bold decisions to keep moving forward and making Maldives available for tourists to come as soon as possible. Let's give a round of applause to the government and the leaders of the country. Yeah. I was sitting, few months, we were having in-person meetings in the office, and I was sitting with our leadership team. Ali is there. We were always meeting every day, once or twice, thrice. It came to a need where the leaders needed to meet every day because every day kept on changing. We didn't know what the decisions we took yesterday was not relevant today. So it is just a matter of few hours, things were changing. So in that situation, we could not even think of a situation where we might have to actually work from home because the leaders needed to be together. But the pandemic, God's plan, wasn't that, isn't it? One fine day, the government announced in March 2020, the government announced that they are going to close the borders, and they gave us few hours to grab our laptops and run home. And from there, it's history. We have worked from home. We never came out of the house for 3 months. But still, we were able to conduct. In our company, we were lucky because we had the backbone ready, because we had Microsoft 365 Teams, but we were not used it. How many tools in your toolkit, in your laptop, are you using? Maybe 3 or 4, isn't it? How many features in Outlook you use? Maybe 1, 2, send and receive, isn't it? So this is how normally, how we work. So we had Teams, but we never used it. But now we are compelled to use it. We used it, we learned it, and we moved on. And if you want more of this story, you can go to my LinkedIn and subscribe for my newsletter. I have written an article about this. The newsletter is called Growth Leadership. And one of the big ticket items we did during the pandemic, because we know where we are heading, we had to sell a resort. And all our teams, the buyers team, everybody was sitting in different countries. Even within Maldives, we were at home. So how we did this? By the way, how many of you are from resorts? Raise your hand. Why don't we all give a round of applause to the resort workers who kept this industry alive and who sacrificed their families for 2 years without going home. They were stuck in the resorts for pandemic. And a lot of things which today I'm going to talk, as a previous resort worker, I know might not be still possible in the resorts. But I guarantee you the technologies are coming even to take over your jobs. Even the cooks' jobs in the restaurant, technologies are coming. So when we were doing this transaction, in the Maldives, we had our team, our lawyers, and the buyers' lawyers sitting in Maldives in their offices or mostly in their homes. In Italy, we had the buyers' team and the buyers' bank who is going to lend the money for the transaction. In Singapore, our MD was stuck in Singapore when he went and the borders closed. And the real estate agent was based in Singapore and Australia, actually, part of their team as well. And in Sri Lanka, our owner's representative was in Sri Lanka. So imagine, this is multi-million-dollar transaction, not $1. So we actually met almost twice or thrice on Teams. We collaborated with each other. We had video conferences through Team. We exchanged. We were working on SharePoint, so we are accessing the same documents. So this is the technology of the future. And we had it, but we were compelled to do it, like I said, by the pandemic, and the pandemic sucked us into the future. And where's Atif? Atif said he loved this tagline. That's why I used it. And yeah, we use Microsoft Teams. And this is PwC's research on how we came up to now. They have omitted a very important certain things, but in 2015, I want to tell a worker in Germany celebrated 75 years working for the same company, and he said, the best days are yet to come. Can you imagine when we are at 75 and we say our children, oh, that is just getting younger, isn't it? And with today's technology, the book I'm reading now, Life Force from Tony Robbins, highlights the importance, the new technology breakthroughs in preventative medicine, regenerative medicine, gene therapy, genetic engineering. This is the future. You might be looking much younger, Afia. If I see after 10 years, I might be very surprised you're looking like a teenager. So this is the future. We are going ahead. So as HR professionals, as leaders, we have to rethink about retirement, isn't it? I was recently having a discussion with the senior leadership of pension office, and I said, now we have to take this word retirement out, because there shouldn't be retirement. I'm not going to retire in my life, because I have seen what has happened to my dad when he retired, and he's no more with us. So in 2019, what happened? Doctors in China did a full-scale surgery for a patient in Ghana by sitting in China. So that is how this virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics, everything is coming into the medical world as well. So well, there's one more point for, as HR leaders, you might need to consider. We are very peculiar about the sick leave, isn't it? Isn't it? Somebody taking sick leave, isn't it? I think in the future, nobody will take sick leave. Are you happy? Yeah. Who is happy? Raise your hand. Yeah. Nobody will take sick leave. Why? They will take preventive medicine leave. 10 years before they get the cancer, they will be treated. This is the future we are talking about. Okay, in 2019, this happened. And the pandemic also happened from China. Started, isn't it? I'm not going to say it is China virus, but some people say it. So in 2020, across university campuses, students started using, complaining about lack of opportunities because of the pandemic, isn't it? And we have to rethink about ways we were working. And 2021, license granted for driverless cars. Are you scared that there will be cars on the road, a lot of them, without a driver in it? Are you scared? Who was scared? Can raise your hand. Can make some noise. Nobody is scared. Very good. Because it will be much safer than us. Because the driverless car will not be looking at the phone, texting. Will not be talking on the phone, texting. By the way, like yesterday, Kiruba said it's one of the biggest cause of death, accidents. So, in 2022, as we state today, world's first fully automated robotic hotel was opened. So, resort workers, are you happy? No? Only the robots will get the service charge in the future. All right. So, next question is, how high-performing teams will work in the future? Those of you who think that we will be still working like pre-pandemic, 100% from offices, can raise your hand? Firshan. Thank you. And those of you who think we will be 100% working remote from distance, raise your hand. Nobody? All right, we have one. So 1-1 here, right? So all others, what do you think? We will be those of you think we will be working partially from home or from distance and from office, can you raise? Can you stand up actually? Yeah? Stand up, look at the hole, look at the hole. How many of you are willing to work partially from office and partially from, this is now. It is a hybrid, you may sit down. Yeah, I asked the same question from my LinkedIn followers. By the way, I don't have many, only about 5,600 of them on LinkedIn. So when I asked, 61% of the respondents said it will be a hybrid environment like you all said. Only 17% said it will be from a physical office. And 22% said it will be totally remote. And that is possible for certain jobs. Might not be the cooks in the restaurants yet. All right, it's not only me. This tallies with every survey everybody is doing. This is a Gallup survey, which shows the keyword here is remote capable workers. How many of you think your job is today remote capable? Can you raise your hand? Asad, take a photo and send to the civil service. All right. You know, most of our jobs are remote capable. I would define remote capable as anybody who is working with a computer in an office, in front of a computer, without interacting much with other human beings, or without cooking at the restaurant. Yet, there are robots coming, right, to replace that. Is remote capable. This is what exactly we did during the pandemic, because most of our jobs are, that big ticket item we did was 100% remote work, isn't it? So Gallup said, before pandemic, out of the remote capable jobs in America, only 8% exclusively work remotely. Only 8%. And 32% worked hybrid, and only 60% worked full-time on the site, on office. 60% in America before the pandemic. So in February 2022, that reversed, because we have learned from the pandemic that we don't necessarily to be in the office, to be more productive, to be more this thing. So the interesting thing here is what they are forecasting even in beyond 2022. Out of the remote capable work, only 24% will be exclusively remote. And 53% might be hybrid, and 23% still will be on site. But that's not what the employees prefer. Employees, only 9% of those remote capable work people prefer to work from office. Very thought-provoking, isn't it? We are going to, it's a beautiful way of working in the future. This is Goldman Sachs. It's a huge bank, one of the largest banks in the world. And this is their London office, just before the pandemic. As a finance professional myself, I wouldn't mind working in this office. It's grand, it's huge, it gives pleasure. You know, it elevates your status to work at the London headquarters of the Goldman Sachs, isn't it? But what happened after the pandemic? The CEO was a very fixed mindset guy. And he said, I don't believe that people can be productive while working from home or distance. But he forgot. Even Goldman Sachs staff were working during the pandemic from home. And he asked everybody to return. What happened, Sarah, after that? Everybody rejected. And there was a mass resignation as well. So one of the mass resignations which is coming now is because companies trying to force their employees to take away the benefit they had working from home during the pandemic. Now we have learned. We have come to know that for hundreds of years, our bosses have been lying us. We don't need to go to office, actually, to work. All right. Another company, I want just for comparison sake. Accenture is a service and service company which has actually stepped up. They have actually already adapted their metaverse during the pandemic. And now their staffs who are onboarding can go and do their induction virtual reality on a virtual reality platform. Let's have a look.
Welcome, everyone, to the nth floor.
It's called nth floor.
Well, Paul, I love that you brought us to the cafe. This is beautiful.
Hey, do you guys want a group photo?
So this is the Sofia Antipolis lab. This is the next generation bank. And then over here on the farther left.
Welcome to Accenture Virtual Reality. This is Accenture bringing forth the power of human ingenuity and technology.
We've got over 30 locations or centers of excellence across the globe.
Welcome to our Talent Town Hall.
We're standing in Accenture's metaverse right now. We call our metaverse the nth floor.
Welcome you all to the launch of the RMD Code program.
It's good to see you. Bye-bye.
How are you all? All right, that's the Accenture. People who are doing it differently. Now, what is this place? Anybody has any idea? The headquarters of Apple, they call it very proudly the park. And a cook is standing in front, Mr. Tim Cook, the CEO. And you know what happened? Apple staff, during the pandemic, they work from home. But after that, when in US, of course, things are getting normal only now, from last month, 11th April, they asked staffs to start working one day from office because Cook has been missing the faces. So, but that was not enough. After about 15 days, he said everybody is to start work from 2 days from office from beginning of this month. And in fact, a week back, he sent out a memo to all the employees, said, come on now, I'm missing you so much. You guys need to come back. I'm missing the faces. I'm missing the collaboration. I'm missing the what they called it, the serendipity. Okay. And then I'm missing that. So please come back to work 3 days a week, starting from tomorrow, 23rd. What staff did? They rejected. And they put a open letter. We will talk about that letter in a while. Yeah? So now the question is, you all agree it is going to be hybrid. Whenever somebody says it is going to be hybrid, this question comes to my mind. What is hybrid? Can you turn to the one next to you? Discuss. Is it work in 2 days like Apple has done, or 1 day, or from home, or what do you think? What is it? What is hybrid? We have been using this word quite often, right? All right. You all are correct. Because it can be anything you imagine to be. And this is the letter. If you go to this website, appletogether.org, you can read that letter. Very interesting. And there are a lot of lessons for HR managers to learn. I will just highlight few. And they said why they are writing that letter. They said the executives, they are asking to work because it can create more flexibility because of hybrid. Then they said it is actually not promoting flexibility, isn't it? When they come, even in the Apple office, even in that grand office, people are cornered in different small cubicles and offices. Teams doesn't meet each other often. But if they have a collaborative tool, like Microsoft Teams, for example, and they can collaborate with each other whenever they want, isn't it? This is what they said. So the future, they said, is going to be collaborating when we want, isn't it? That's normal for our life, isn't it? We don't meet all our friends every day, isn't it? We call them when we want something from them, isn't it? So this is how. So this is actually this model will not work for Apple, and especially when Apple is promoting their products as very good for distributed work and things like that, and they are not adopting this in Apple. So actually, Cook is in a real soup now. So this logo, MPAO, how many staff from pension office? How many there? Yeah. And how many of you know where the pension office is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe about, 10, 15 people from here. Because I don't blame the people who don't know, because you don't need to know. I was in the board of pension office when it was established first time in 2019, and we purposely designed a public sector organization with latest technology, latest infrastructure, latest everything, and we made a bedrock for the future of the organization. We ensured that the people who want to get service, like employers who want to pay their contribution, don't need to come there. Because we already have the banking system established, we already have infrastructure in the nation, we can take advantage of that. And before that, Ministry of Family was actually distributing the old age pension in cash, in envelope, sent into the councils, and councillors taking it to the bedridden patients, old people in the house, in cash, and they also very happy. Now here we come, we said, you open an account. They said, we never had an account. They said, I'm sorry, if you don't have account, we can't pay pension. So we allowed them to have a joint account with their. So this is the story of pension office. If you want to know about that more during the break, you can ask from the pension office staff here. And during the pandemic, they dispersed totally. They went to the islands, they were working on, and that is the only public sector organization on cloud now. I'm so happy that now they are on cloud, so we can retire at cloud 9. All right, so this is the bigger question again, skills for the future. So what are the skills for the future? There are so many skills. Do we know it? Not yet, because about 10 years back, we didn't know what we will be doing today, isn't it? Elon Musk just bought Twitter. You think this guy from Mars, people call him the alien, he's going to have different thoughts on technology. He's going to totally do a different thing for us to change our way of life. So I asked this question. I think some of you know him from my friend Nattu Adnan last week when I was preparing for this one. And Nattu is a co-founder and the CTO of Lotifiles. It is an animation platform where a lot of tech companies are using. It is for animators actually, not for the end users. But during the pandemic, because I met myself and Nattu, we had a program running for youth in Formula during 2019, late 2019. And after that, actually, he went back to Malaysia to his office, and then he returned back again to Maldives because they have to now disperse because of the border close. And during the pandemic, working from different countries, they actually raised their first capital from Silicon Valley. It's a Silicon Valley company, and today they have 120 team members working in 17 countries, a fully distributed organization, an organization of the future. Nobody knows where the other person is, but everybody is working. They use Slack to interact. Slack has, by the way, grown many folds during the pandemic as well, like Zoom has done. So during the pandemic, in total, from Microsoft, Google, Adobe, and other venture capital investors, they have raised $40 million. Isn't it amazing? Without the team members even seeing each other. And today, they have 2 offices. Basically, the CEO is based in Malaysia, and the Nattu is based in Seoul. And I asked Nattu, so what is this? It's a very difficult question for anybody to answer. But can you tell me, what is one skill at least you need for the future? He said, everybody needs to learn how to learn. That is, and he told me one thing. If we teach our kids and the youth and everyone how to Google properly, they are set for life. And I don't blame him by saying that, because from childhood I have been known him, and I know that he has never attended a college to learn technology. He has learned everything from internet. So, in the future, the literacy, when we were very young, we heard about this, what's that? Asasi Taulim program, isn't it? The literacy program. And that is the one best thing the Maldives government has ever done for Maldives. Can we give a round of applause to whoever the president was that time? Yes. Okay. And we are proud that we are 90% literate country. Until when we finished school, we found we are illiterate. We know how to write and write, but we don't know how to open a computer. So we were forced to learn computer literacy. And today, do you have to teach how to open and close a computer or a gadget to your kids? You don't. Everybody is born literate. We have given that gene to our children. Then this came the financial literacy. Financial literacy also became very important. And this is going to be much important today because of the cryptocurrencies and other technologies which are coming in financial world and how we interact and invest and, on a daily basis and things like that. The stock markets are going to work in a different way. The loans are going to be given in a totally different way. The borrowings will happen. There won't be big banks. There will be, community funds. There will be social capitals, social investors. All these things will come. So even today, financial literacy has become one of the key important factors we need to teach our children. Otherwise, they will not survive in the future. You know so many doctors and lawyers who make millions of dollars a month even now and are broke in the middle of the month, isn't it? So that is because they don't know how to manage their finance, and if we cannot manage our finances, we cannot survive actually. But the most important thing which is emerging today is technology literacy. Being aware of, that is what I'm doing right now, literating you on the technology of the future. So without us being aware of what is coming and being ready to adapt it, we will not survive in the future. So it is very important that we should be at the cutting edge all the time, because we can't look back. How many of you are willing to go and buy Office, 97? 386 computers, what we started with? How many of you are willing to? A mobile phone with 486K memory? All right. The other thing is, and Leash and Dr. Jacqueline and everybody was talking about this as well, the emotional intelligence is very important. IQ was what was measured of people's intelligence and the test which was used many years back. And that is no more that important, that relevant. In the future, it will be the technology quadrant, which is more important. Do you agree? So basically, TQ means how you are actually, because this becomes more important with Neuralink and other technologies which you will be connected to the future. And I know a lot of you are even now connected, very immersed into the technology. Right now, even you are looking at your screens. You cannot even hear what I am talking right now. So immersed, isn't it? But I would say this is just the scratch of the surface. Tip of the iceberg you are seeing with the technology which are coming in the future. With AR, augmented reality, with all these things, we'll be living in a different world in a few years' time. Nothing. This never goes out of fashion. Like Nattu says, if we can teach our children, everybody, the learning skills, have a growth mindset, have an open mindset for learning, then we can survive in the future. We cannot go into the future. Even tomorrow, we cannot wake up thinking we know it all. We have to wake up with what kind of attitude, Shahid? Yes, learn it all attitude. Whatever comes tomorrow, we are going to learn and implement. That kind of attitude only we have to come. All right, for leaders, for HR managers, you might call it the traits of the future or the skills you need to learn. What is one thing about humility? If you don't have humility, you cannot learn from others. You will not be open to learn from your subordinates. You will not be open to learn from your colleagues if you don't have humility. And let's give a big round of applause to the most amazing example of humility I can see today here, our First Lady. And empathy. Until in the future, especially after the pandemic, we have come out of a different species out of the pandemic. If you cannot think from others' perspective, like Mr. Cook, and you are going to cook their life. They will never work for you in the future. You need to think from others' perspective. Whether your customers, your suppliers, your employees, you need to start thinking from their perspective. And the future is, the word is very important. It is phygital. It's a new word, might not be in the dictionaries yet. But phygital means we will be constantly living in a place, in a life, which is partially physical and partially digital. I know all of you are already with the phone, partially digital beings. You are already cyborgs. But you'll be more immersive with the Google, like in this picture it shows the Google Glass. And then, Sarah, you can wear a Google Glass in the future. And then you can go to the supermarket, and if you want to see the expiry dates, how that was manufactured. I think this is very important for Muslims as well. You know, when we're going to buy meat, whether that was slaughtered properly, how we can see the entire process while we stand in the supermarket. Very important, isn't it? Yeah. So, and also, like for example, when you want to, you can have the other way also. You don't need to ask from others about the profile of the girlfriend, boyfriend you want in the future. You can look at them. The profile will be in front of you. How many boyfriends, girlfriends they had in the past? Yeah? All right. And the future is also about life-work balance. I have to disagree a little bit with my friend Lish here. Lish, sorry. Because what she told was very relevant. Today, it is the work-life balance. But after the pandemic, we have come to know that our life is more important, isn't it? This is why actually Google has come up with a campus where people can immerse into a phygital world with life-work balance, putting their life at first. Let's have a look.
The one thing we know about the future is we have no idea how we're going to be working in 20 years, 10 years, even 5 years. Charleston East and Bayview represent the first time that we led the concept and construction of our own major campuses. And it's an opportunity to rethink the very idea of what an office building is and rethink what's possible for the industry. With this shape, we had people walking by and they're like, what is this? Like, they don't even know. It doesn't look like an office building, which is so fascinating because then when you come in, you have no preconceptions of how to work that comes from historic ways of working. But instead, it's like a canvas of creating new ways of being together. With these projects, we really thought about people first, using things like healthy materials and air quality. Everyone has natural light and has thermal, visual, and acoustic comfort. Down on the bottom level is really like the market. It's where we have our meeting rooms, cafes, where you can connect with your community and collaborate. And then up here, it's more quiet. You're really focused on that immediate team.
The premise around some of the team space is that there is physical collaboration, but there's enhanced virtual collaboration that's going to happen also.
This new hybrid world, work is going to change, but this building can adapt and flex to meet that.
There's a straight line from people-first design to sustainability.
So that is how the future will be. Sorry. Yeah. So after I experienced this personally during the pandemic, I was doing Zoom calls, Microsoft calls, while my younger daughter will come and lie next to me, hug me. And after living these moments and getting an appetite for life, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going back to the past. And I want to finish my talk with one message to you. Embrace the power of technology to be more human, not less. Welcome to the future, WTF. Thank you. Anybody got any questions? You want to take any questions? Or you want to finish? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Iyaz. So,
What?
Before we go on to the next part of the agenda, let's please give a round of applause to Iyaz. And I mean, we all got a tour of what it would be like, right, when we go into the future. So does anyone have any questions for Iyaz? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
My friend Firshan, please.
Yeah, yes, I do agree that we could work from home, but when we look at the Maldivian context, infrastructure is still lagging behind. You know, we know how hard it was during the pandemic. I mean, internet was one big issue, payment system was a big issue, and most importantly, I think still the mindset of the leaders and the supervisors and the heads of organization is still an issue which we need to address. So what is your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Firshan. Maybe we both studied together at school, so he thought same as me. I asked the same question from Nattu, because Nattu has so many staff based in Maldives as well, in different islands. How do they handle this, people going into, and then the mindset? Of course, they had the mindset of totally working from distance. And my biggest question was actually not that, about the people, because I care about the people. I said, they will feel disconnected from the social, being we are. They need to be with people. Your offices are all around, your people are working all around the world. How you have a form of culture, how you come? He said, we give a starter pack. Every staff gets up to $1,000 starter pack to set up their home office and virtual reality, whatever. And then they give a $300 allowance for every staff to go into a co-working sharing place in the country where they are living, in the city where they are traveling, or a cafe or any place where they feel comfortable and social. And the company is going to reimburse that. And how beautiful is it? And also they pay for a gym membership and Udemy, unlimited access, so that staff can learn whatever they want to implement their job better. So a lot of autonomy is given to like Firshan says, actually this, like the Apple staff said, this is driven by fear. The fear that we will lose the control over the staff. The fear that if we give autonomy, then they will not do a proper job. But this fear was there even about 15 years back when I walked into a government office for the first time to get an ancient picture. And they said, no, we can't allow your pen drive to be inserted into us. We will email it. And the person next to sitting there says, we will email a soft copy. And the big boss sitting there, this is 15 years back, he asked, can we email soft copies? You forget the joke. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, Liz. Yeah, you can tell. Yeah.
I just want to thank you for changing the concept of it's very interesting about changing the concept from work-life to life-work balance, because as HR professionals or as organizations, a lot of employees are expected to work as if they don't have a life beside working. So it's a really good path that we are going forward to. So
I think it's the future. Thank you, Liz. Mr. Shiab.
It's not a question. I'm a little bit scared.
By the way, this is our last question.
Yeah, because
last is always the best.
My experience in the past, in the hybrid model, is that when that happens in the Maldives, people are expected to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What is your reaction to that?
I think Lish has beautifully answered that question yesterday. It shouldn't be the way. And personally, I make sure I get off time. I make sure I off my phone. I make sure my emails are not on my mobile phone, by the way. It's a secret, huh? Don't tell them. So when I check my emails on intervals, even if I'm working at home from my laptop only, strictly. My office email is not on my mobile phone. So this way you can actually, and you have to think about that, Working time, only you should have office meetings, even whether it is online or collaborative, Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have been amazing. Thank you.